In the annals of men's memory, few figures have left a mark so indelible as that of Jesus Christ. His life and teachings, transcending the bounds of time, have wrought mighty changes in the hearts of mortals and in the destinies of nations. Who is this Jesus, whose name doth echo through the ages? To behold him in truth is to perceive a being of wondrous duality, at once fully human and wholly divine, a mystery profound and a light undying. In this discourse we shall seek to embody Jesus in the fullness of his character, to bring forth a vision of him that doth shine with both the warmth of human tenderness and the radiance of divine majesty. Through this exploration, we aim to unveil the essence of Jesus, the gentle shepherd of souls, whose life and teachings continue to illuminate the paths of men. The humanity of Jesus. Jesus as a man of compassion. Among the manifold virtues that adorn the life of Jesus, none shone brighter than his compassion, a light that pierced through the darkest recesses of human sorrow. In the sacred writings it is told how Jesus, moved by the suffering of those around him, didst extend his hand to the afflicted, the downtrodden, and the forlorn. Verily, his miracles were wrought not solely as tokens of his divine power, but as outpourings of a heart filled with love and mercy. Consider the tale of the woman taken in adultery, dragged before the rabble who thirsted for her blood. As the stones of judgment were readied, Jesus, with a voice both gentle and piercing, spake unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And lo, the stones were lowered, and the accusers departed in silence, convicted by their own consciences. In this we behold Jesus, the merciful one, who doth offer not condemnation but grace, a grace that doth lift the fallen and restore the lost. The relatable teacher. Not only was Jesus a healer of bodies, but also a healer of souls, a teacher whose words did flow like a river of life, refreshing the spirits of all who hearkened unto him. He spake in parables, in stories simple yet profound, that didst reveal the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven to the common folk. Jesus, with wisdom unfathomable, didst make the highest truths accessible to the lowliest of men. The parable of the Good Samaritan doth stand as a testament to his skill in teaching. In this tale, a despised Samaritan became the hero, showing mercy where others had passed by. By this, Jesus didst challenge the prejudices of the age, declaring that love is the highest law, transcending all barriers of race, creed, and station. His parables, like the seeds of the sower, didst take root in the hearts of many, bearing fruit in the lives of those who followed him. Jesus' emotional depth. Though Jesus was divine, he was not untouched by the sorrows and struggles of this mortal coil. The scriptures do record the tears of Jesus, shed at the tomb of his friend Lazarus, John 11:35, a moment that doth reveal the depth of his human empathy. Jesus wept, saith the gospel, and in these two words is contained a world of meaning, a Savior who knows the bitterness of grief, who mourns with those who mourn. Yet Jesus was not only a man of tears, he was also a man of righteous anger. When he didst cleanse the temple of the money changers, Matthew 21:12-13, his wrath was not the wrath of a mere man, but of one who defended the holiness of God's house. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, we see Jesus in his agony, wrestling with the burden of the cross that lay before him, Luke 22:44. His prayer, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will but thine be done, doth reveal the struggle within him, a struggle that makes his ultimate sacrifice all the more profound. The divinity of Jesus. Miracles as signs of divinity. Though Jesus walked among us as a man, his deeds didst testify to his divine nature. The miracles he wrought were not only acts of compassion, but also signs of his authority over the very elements of creation. When he didst still the tempest with but a word, Mark 4:35 to 41. The winds and the waves didst obey him, acknowledging the voice of their Creator. And when he didst call forth Lazarus from the grave, John 11:1 to 44. Death itself was vanquished, yielding to the author of life. Each miracle, though wrought in love, was also a proclamation of his divine identity. When he didst feed the multitude with loaves and fishes, Matthew 14:13 to 21, it was a foretaste of the spiritual nourishment he doth offer to all who hunger for righteousness. These signs were given that men might believe, and in believing find life in his name. The teachings of Jesus. The words of Jesus were as radical as his deeds, for he didst challenge the very foundations of the religious order of his day. In the Sermon on the Mount, he didst redefine righteousness, calling his followers to a standard far above the letter of the law. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you, and persecute you. This commandment, unheard of in its time, didst turn the world upside down, revealing the heart of God, a heart overflowing with boundless love and mercy. Jesus' teachings were not merely moral precepts, but were revelations of the very nature of God's kingdom. His parables, often beginning with, "The kingdom of heaven is like unto," were windows into a reality that was at once present and yet to come, a kingdom that doth invert the values of this world, exalting the humble and humbling the proud. Jesus and the fulfillment of prophecy. From the dawn of time, the prophets had spoken of a Redeemer, a Savior who would come to deliver his people. In Jesus, these ancient prophecies found their fulfillment. He was born in Bethlehem, the lineage of David, and his life did unfold in accordance with the divine plan, as foretold by the seers of old. Isaiah, the prophet, spake of a suffering servant, one who would bear the iniquities of many. This prophecy, mysterious and veiled, found its fullest expression in the passion and death of Jesus, who was wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities. His life was not a mere sequence of events, but the unfolding of a divine drama, preordained before the foundations of the world. The interplay of humanity and divinity. Jesus' sacrificial love. The cross, that most ignominious of instruments, became in the hands of Jesus the symbol of sacrificial love, a love that doth transcend all human understanding. In his willingness to lay down his life for the sins of the world, Jesus didst reveal the depth of God's love, a love that is both tender in its humanity and mighty in its divinity. The Gospels do recount how Jesus, knowing all that was to come, did set his face steadfastly toward Jerusalem, the place of his passion. The Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. Mark 10:45. In this, the cross is transformed from a symbol of shame into a beacon of hope, shining forth the truth that in Jesus, the love of God has broken into the world, offering redemption to all who would receive it. If the cross was the ultimate demonstration of Jesus' sacrificial love, then the resurrection was the triumphant declaration of his victory over sin and death. On the third day, the tomb was found empty, and the angel didst declare, "He is not here, for he is risen as he said." Matthew 28:6. In this, the resurrection doth stand as the cornerstone of Christian faith, the event that doth vindicate all that Jesus taught and did. The resurrection is not merely a historical event, but a cosmic victory, the dawn of a new creation, where death hath lost its sting. It doth affirm that Jesus is indeed the Son of God, whose kingdom shall have no end. For those who follow him, the resurrection is the promise of new life, both now and in the age to come. Jesus' legacy and influence. Jesus in history and culture. Through the ages, the figure of Jesus hath inspired artists, poets, and scholars, his image woven into the very fabric of culture. In the cathedrals of Europe, his visage is etched in stained glass. In the hymns of the faithful, his name is lifted high. And in the literature of the ages, his teachings are echoed. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, the Man of Sorrows, the King of Kings, these are but a few of the ways in which he hath been portrayed, each image capturing a different facet of his multifaceted nature. His influence doth stretch far beyond the walls of the church, touching every corner of human endeavor. The impact of Jesus on ethics and morality. The teachings of Jesus have not only shaped the religious beliefs of millions, but have also profoundly influenced the moral and ethical foundations of societies. His command to love one's neighbor as oneself, Matthew 22:39, hath become the bedrock of human rights, the principle upon which just societies are built. In personal ethics, Jesus is called to inner purity, to righteousness that doth spring from the heart rather than from mere outward observance, hath challenged generations to examine their motives and to live lives of integrity. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. Matthew 15:11. In this Jesus didst point the way to a higher standard of morality, one that doth flow from a transformed heart. Jesus in personal transformation. But perhaps the greatest legacy of Jesus is the transformation he hath wrought in the lives of countless individuals. For those who have encountered him, Jesus is not merely a figure of history, but a living presence, a source of strength, guidance, and hope. His words continue to speak to the deepest longings of the human soul, offering a path to peace, purpose, and salvation. The testimonies of those whose lives have been changed by Jesus are legion. Men and women who have found in him the power to overcome addiction, the grace to forgive, the courage to face suffering. These are the living witnesses to the truth that Jesus is not dead, but alive, and that his power to save is undiminished. Conclusion. In seeking to personify Jesus, we have beheld a figure who is at once fully human and fully divine, a mystery that doth confound the wise and bring solace to the humble. His compassion, teachings, and emotional depth reveal a man who didst walk among us, sharing in our joys and sorrows, while his miracles, fulfillment of prophecy, and resurrection testify to his divine nature. Jesus stands as the bridge between heaven and earth, the mediator between God and man, whose life and death have opened the way to eternal life. His legacy is not confined to the annals of history, but is a living reality, a light that continues to shine in the darkness, guiding all who would follow him to the truth, the life, and the way. In Jesus, we behold the embodiment of a love that is both human and divine, a love that doth call us to follow in his steps and to discover in him the fullness of life eternal.